welcome back to the Alt. Thank you for joining me again today. I'm your host, Shapirian. Sort of excited to be back with you today after a weird night of Monday Night Football where neither game was super great, super high scoring. Ravens, Bucks affair, low scoring, gritty, tough. Cardinals, Chargers affair. Good night to be a bird team. I'll tell you that, as the Ravens and the Cardinals were able to pull off victories in both of these games. We're going to talk about both of them in this episode of the Alt. Before we do, if you could do me a favor, please just take a second, click off the video and just minimize it. See if you're subscribed to the channel, and if you're not, please just click the little subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. It means more to me than you would know. You can also follow me on most social media at the Alt NFL. I'd love to hear from you on there, or you can leave a comment down below if you want to add into the conversation. I love hearing from you guys, and I answer all of my comments. With that said, let's talk football. We're going to talk about the team that, in my opinion, is the best in the AFC right now. I think I said on Monday's episode, Lions are the best team in the NFL right now, and it's pretty obvious to me that if you watch the AFC and you've watched football really since week 2, Ravens are the best team in the AFC. And you want to hold those 2 losses against them at this point in time. They feel like an eternity ago. And I told you last week, I said they are going to go on a run. As of now, they've now won 5 straight. They look honestly unbeatable because of how good their offense has been. Their defense has been questionable. Gave up a weird 21-point fourth quarter to Tampa in this one. And it was closer than it needed to be down the stretch. Honestly, if not for the fact that they got a 4th down conversion touchdown late in the third quarter, could have been a very different game, because the Bucks had the ball needing 10, realizing it's effectively over. We've got like 45 seconds left here. If they only needed 7, could have been a very different game, but that's neither here nor there. It's a big one for the Ravens, taking care of business against the Bucks. Let's focus on the Ravens for a little bit in this one. Here we are again. Listen, Lamar Jackson, 5 passing touchdowns tonight. He's done that a bunch, more than anybody since he came into the league. More than Mahomes, more than Allen, more than Burrow, more than anyone you can think of. He's done it more. 5 touchdowns? Come on, man. Listen, if you've got a little bit of fatigue of the Lamar Jackson MVP talk, you better hope somebody steps up, because Mahomes ain't it right now. Okay, I don't care what the record says. It's not the best quarterback on the best team award. It's the most valuable player, effectively speaking, the most valuable quarterback in the league award. As of right now, it's Bill Lamar Jackson. If you're going just by the 2024 season, best quarterback in the league right now is Lamar Jackson. He's looked unstoppable. He looks so comfortable in the pocket. Felt like in this one particular against the Bucks, didn't do a lot of running. And that's something I pointed out a few weeks ago, really since the Bills game, that I've said this year he's the best he's ever looked in the pocket. Lamar the passer is why the AFC should be horrified this season, and why I feel really good about their prospects of winning the Super Bowl. Then on top of that, you look at the factors that come in with that. He's not been as much of a threat in the run game. Doesn't mean he's not a threat. Doesn't mean they're not looking to try to contain him in that regard. Look at Derrick Henry again, 15 carries tonight. He averaged over 10 yards a carry. What are you going to do about this Ravens team? I mean, seriously, if you're an AFC team right now, even Kansas City, who beat them, okay, what are you going to do about it? The Cincinnati Bengals scored 38 on them, couldn't beat them. The Buffalo Bills had them in prime time while they were rolling, and while they had their backs against the wall, the Ravens had their backs against the wall. Couldn't even hardly score on them, much less beat them. They blew them out. What do you do? And their upcoming stretch, I mean, this looks like a very winnable stretch of games. They now have the Browns, Broncos, Bengals, Steelers, Chargers for the next 5. They're probably winning all 5 of those. And we're going to be looking at a 10-2 Ravens team that started 0-2. They look incredible. If you want to look specifically at this Bucks game, what worked well is that Lamar was able to take his time in the pocket, other than really the first 2 drives there, where Tampa Bay was up 10-0. Outside of that, I think they scored 34 unanswered to get to a 34-10 lead at one point in the third quarter. He was really able to take his time and pick them apart. And, the deep shot to Rashad Bateman was the backbreaker. That was the one where, Tampa, I think they just punted on that drive. Maybe it was another Baker pick. I don't know. He had 2 picks on this one. But that was the backbreaker. And some penalties hurt them in this one. We'll talk Bucks in a second. For Baltimore, it just seems like they are scoring at will and imposing their will on other defenses. I love what I'm seeing from it. They're going to remain the number one team in the NFL in terms of EPA. Absolutely. Lamar is going to be the number one most likely player to win the MVP after this week. Absolutely makes sense. I think if I had to put money on it, I'd have them as the odds-on favorite to win the AFC after this week, just because of how they've looked. Yes, Chiefs, 6-0, great. I like the Chiefs. I like this version of them, even though it's not sexy football on the offensive side of it because of how good their defense is. But come on, man. Look at what I said about the Ravens before the season started. I predicted them to win the Super Bowl, and I said part of it is just like, they're going to get one with Lamar Jackson, okay? They're going to. And when you look at the way they're playing this year, does this not feel like the year where you're like, oh, and this was the year they got it all together and went on their huge run? That's usually what happens. That's how Drew Brees got his. That's how Peyton got his second one. That's how a lot of quarterbacks get their Super Bowl wins, okay? And Joe Flacco with the Ravens is another one. That's the best he ever looked was that 2012 season where things just kind of clicked and Ray Rice was really good and everything just worked out for them overall. This is the team that can do it. They're worse on the defensive side of the ball than they've been in a few years, but they've gone full nuclear on offense. Ravens, your prospects look amazing. I'm going to focus on the Bucks for a second because they're still 4-3. They're still right in the thick of it, and the NFC South still looks like it's going to be a mess of a division. It really does. Listen, 10-0 lead at the end of the first quarter in this one. I tweeted at the Alt NFL if you'd like to follow me on there. I said, the margins in this one are too slim. They went down 17-10 at halftime, and I said, this game is over. Because the margins are too slim for the mistakes they made. Here's what's up. There's one in here that, like, look, it clearly didn't impact the result of this game, but they were up 7-0. They're driving to score. Baker finds Chris Godwin in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, 14-0 over the Ravens. Woohoo! Nah. Holding call called back. And for what it's worth, Peyton Manning, Bill Belichick, Eli Manning all said so themselves. Some in plainer terms than others, but that was not a hold. It really was not a hold. It was very ticky-tack. If you want to say it was 50-50, sure, and 50-50 is going to go either way. Whatever. That holding call takes a touchdown off the board. They settle for a field goal to go up 10-0. Still 10-0, still 10-0, okay. They gave up a touchdown on that next drive. It's 10-7 now. Cool, okay, cool, whatever. Next drive, Mike Evans gets hurt on a play where he drops a touchdown pass, which he does not do. Mike Evans does not drop touchdown passes. Takes them forever to be able to score. They don't score again until the fourth quarter at that point. It should have been, at worst, for the Bucks, 21-7, and then you had the doink field goal miss. It's 24 points. So many opportunities left on the board right there. By the way, Baker threw a pick on that drive after Mike Evans got hurt on the drop touchdown pass. So not only did he not catch the touchdown, Baker throws a pick. Marlon Humphrey with a very heads-up play, kind of being out of bounds, coming back in, making the pick, which is allowed for some reason. Really just good stuff overall from the Ravens after that 10-0 start. The Bucks left a lot on there, and I think that's their fatal flaw, is this offense is going to be streaky. Baker's going to throw some picks. He's very Favre-like in that. Jordan Love is another guy like that. So far, we've not seen a lot of it. Sam Darnold, that's always been a knock on him. It's like, he's going to throw you some, okay? Some quarterbacks are just like that, and that's okay. We still love them. They still do a great job for their teams. Baker's one of them. If you can't capitalize on the opportunities you have, I just named 14 points off the board. A field goal instead of a touchdown is 4. A missed field goal adds 3 more for a touchdown. A drop touchdown that turned into an interception. It's 14 points missed right there. You can't do that. You lost by 10. You can't do that. So I do think this Ravens defense is concerning, but for the Bucks in particular tonight, now your fears are, what's up with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? Chris Godwin is believed to have a dislocated ankle. We'll see what happens. That's probably going to be a week-to-week injury. I imagine he misses at least one game as a result. What is their situation in particular for the Bucks? Let me double-check right here. They do play the Falcons on Sunday. This one I knew. I knew that was going to be a big one. But after that, when is their bye? Their bye's not for 3 more weeks. So they've got Falcons, Chiefs, 49ers for their next 3. This could get really ugly. I pointed that out in the biggest game of the week segment last week, where I said Ravens-Bucks is going to have a huge impact on the NFL. You see that. Big one from the Steelers to keep them tied for first in the AFC North. The AFC North is going to come down to the wire, it looks like, because the Steelers aren't going to lose a ton of games down the stretch like I thought they might. It doesn't seem like they will, and the Ravens aren't going to lose maybe ever again. Who knows? NFC South, though, going to be a very tightly contested one down the stretch. For the Bucks, you have to hope Mike Evans is okay. You definitely missed him in this game after he went down. It took him forever to be able to score again after he went down. And on the defensive side of the ball, Lamar had as many passing touchdowns as he did in completions in this one. He picked you apart, but you don't play Lamar every week. You do play Kansas City in 2 weeks, so you do play Patrick. Maybe he's waking up by then. Who knows? But for Tampa, you just got to deal with what you have, roll with the punches, keep competing to get the playoff spot. That's guaranteed by winning your division, which I still think you can do. I'm big on the Falcons. I still think Tampa can do it. For Baltimore, you look primed for a huge roll, like I think you're going to go on, and I still feel really great about your chances of winning the Super Bowl. So big props to the Ravens on a huge win on Monday Night Football. Now let's talk Chargers-Cardinals, a very different game. I had to use some unconventional methods to be able to watch the end of this game because outside of the last little bit before the half, it was like I couldn't get this game to come on afterwards. I thought it was supposed to come on after Ravens-Bucks ended, but they ended up not having it come on. I don't know. It was a whole mess. Not a beautiful one by any means. And like I said, I didn't watch the full game. I caught like the last 5.5 minutes or something like that. So I saw the Chargers take the lead 15-14. Truthfully, I thought they were going to hang on, but Kyler Murray leads the Cardinals down the field in 1:54 seconds in order to have the game-winning field goal go through. Chad Ryland did not let them down. For them, they're still one of those teams that's floating around. I said this a few weeks ago. Tell me I'm wrong in saying that the Arizona Cardinals are the toughest team to predict in the entire NFL. The toughest team, okay? There's not another team in the NFL that you can look at on any given day and say, I have zero clue what to expect from them. They could drop 40, they could drop 4. 2 safeties, right? I don't know what to expect. Could be a field goal and a 2-point conversion, return for a touch, or the other way for a 1-point score, right? I don't know. Look, I have my questions about them. I also have my questions about the Chargers. This is one where both of these guys are going to be fighting for wildcard spots. But you look at the Cardinals, and you look at the NFC West, and I talked on Monday's episode about how open the NFC West is right now. You're tied for second. You're a game back. That's crazy. You're 3-4. 3-4 in this league is not getting it done in most cases, but you're one of the few you're in one of the few situations for the Cardinals right now where 3-4, you're doing okay for yourselves. They're going to be in the mix down the stretch. It's a big part of why I said the Rams are not out of it. 49ers can't get their crap together, and they're down a couple people now with Brandon Ayuk out for the season. If you're the Cardinals, this is one you had to have, and you're really happy to have it. You got the Dolphins this week. We're not going to all predict them to win this game. Tua's back. I don't know that I love the way this offense has looked without him. They seem lost. I love Tua. I loved, past tense, the Dolphins this year. I'm kind of out on him until I see that Tua is back to his normal self. First game back after a concussion, I don't know that I'm going to be banking on Tua being his normal self. So I think I'm going to have the Cardinals getting back to 500 this week, which is not where you wanted them to be if you're an NFC wildcard contending team or fringe wildcard team like the Falcons or the Bucks, right? Or a team like that. If you're the 49ers or the Seahawks. You want a team like this out of the equation. Not to mention, by the way, the whole NFC North is no worse than 4-2. A wild card is going to be a mess for the NFC. Let's talk Chargers for a second. Full transparency here, just to break the fourth wall. I am a regular football fan who does like to cheer for my team and what's good for my team. Thank God the Cardinals won this game because I'm praying that the Bengals can somehow stick around and get a wild card spot at the end of the season. The North is out of the equation, but a wild card spot might not be. Chargers are one of those teams that are going to be right there. And now they're sitting at 3-3 with their bye in the rearview mirror. And this is an offense that at times looked lost tonight, despite the fact that, in his own territory, right? Like back to his own end zone, Justin Herbert looked really good tonight. Seems like every time they got across midfield, the offense stalled out. We look at these teams, or this team in particular, in the first few weeks of the season, and even in that Steelers game that they ended up losing, it was like there was such a willingness to run the ball. And that seemed like it was going to be their identity, was like that we are going to run the ball or die trying. 59 rushing yards on the night against the Arizona Cardinals. You're outrushed 181 to 59. And look, you just couldn't seem to stay on the field at points. It was a lot of 3 and outs or a lot of field goals. That's really all that happened with them. And they didn't score a touchdown all night. That's not a good recipe to winning a football game. You actually have more yards per play than the Cardinals did, but lost by 2. Weird game. The big Kyler run was really the momentum shift in this one. For the Chargers, certainly not hitting the panic button or anything like that, but you have to be a little bit concerned that you're coming off of you're 2 weeks now removed from your bye week. So it's full steam ahead, and you do have a very winnable stretch of games right now. Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals, you can win all 4 of those games. So you just got to keep pressing forward, but the offense is going to have to figure something out. The defense looks like a Harbaugh defense, a Jesse Minter defense. I love Jesse Minter, by the way. The dude is a genius. Just got to figure it out on offense. So, for the Cardinals, huge win in this one. Massive win to keep yourself alive. You don't want to be 2-5, 3-4 in that division. You're alive this season. For the Chargers, you know going into the season, being in the Chiefs division right now, you're competing for a wild card spot. These are ones you don't want to lose going down the stretch. That could end up mattering. You still have the Chiefs coming up on that schedule. You still have the Ravens coming up on that schedule. You have the Buccaneers. You have the Falcons. A lot of tough ones coming up down the stretch. But plenty of winnable games for the Chargers as well. They're going to be right in that mix. I don't see them going any worse than 9-8. So keep your head up, Chargers. You should only be better from here. With that said, kind of a shorter one today. Just a Monday night recap, effectively. We'll get back to kind of a normal structure tomorrow. But that wraps up this episode of The Alt. If you're on YouTube, it does seem like the YouTube audience is enjoying the slightly shorter episodes more, by the way, that are more specifically targeted towards certain teams. I don't know. If you're a daily listener, let me know in the comments down below. Do you prefer more of a variety? Do you prefer kind of focused on 1 or 2 games or 1 or 2 teams? I'd love to know, because I'm just trying to figure this out myself. With that said, that is all I have for this one. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you have anything to add to the conversation. That is it for me. I'll see you all back here bright and early tomorrow.